よし。よろしくお願いいたします。
Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. We got a great turnout. There's people from all over the place. And it's really good. Take time to learn from our presentation today. Great classes last night, and we're looking forward to more of the same today if you want. Thank you very much. Again, one of the two things I mentioned, don't teach. There's 3 guys with hakamas on here. Let them teach, just train. Try and do what they're doing the way they do it. It may not be the way you do it, but it's really good to try and do it somebody else's way, and it can actually really, really help their idea. And I can't remember the word. Have fun. There you go. So that's how we do it.
Okay, should we do warm up or get right into it? Michael. Hey, let's warm up. Os. Let's go to another stop. All right, spread out. Let's do kamae. Hey, kisuke. Gihami kamae. Kamae no re. Hidari hami kamae. Kamae no re. And relax. Does anyone have any questions about kamae? Gozo. Huh? I don't know. Right? Kacho Sensei said everything you know about Aikido is in kamae. And he also said if your kamae is right, everything else is right. The problem is, the reverse is also true. If your kamae isn't right, everything else is wrong. And then you have to use your muscle to keep the shape. If we think about kamae, the kihon dosa and the kihon waza are just ways to get rid of muscular tension. Sometimes it makes it easier. All right? And again, I always tell this story because it's really true. When I was in Japan, I was telling someone, when you do ikkajo, you're doing it this way. And he said, no, I'm not. And I said, okay, sorry. Right? And I didn't talk to him for 6 months. I'm a bit stubborn. But the truth is, the real important part is I left Japan in 1995. That's 2024, that's 30-something years ago. And I've seen that guy. He's still doing it this way. I do it this way. Did it hurt? No. Why'd you go down? That's the mystery. Okay? You don't need muscle. If you can get it right, you just put them down. And then eventually, Kancho Sensei said, there's no kamae because it's always there. But you have to work on your position. All right? So kamae and the kihon dosa teach us how to make our body strong. Aikido has nothing to do with pain. It has nothing to do with muscle. Right? As Alistair Thompson said yesterday, he was tiny. Right? But he was very powerful. We have to figure out how to use our body. The idea of Aikido is very simple. My whole body against his weak point. My arms against his whole body, he will win. You have to figure out how to use your kamae so it can come in. That's why it's so important. It teaches you your best spot. All right? It's really important. So what I like to try out first is just from here, I'm on left, Libor's on right. He's also a karate teacher, so he can hit hard. Again, if you tell people you do Aikido, sometimes they giggle because Aikido has a bad reputation. Unfortunately, it's deserved because most Aikido people can't strike, they can't block. Right? We don't have to hit hard, but if he's hitting for here, if I don't block, he will hit me. So for the basic technique, it's teaching him how to strike and me how to block. All right? And you have to have that kamae, so when the strike comes, you're just here. And you can see, he will hit me. If he gets tight, he won't hit me, he'll miss. So he has to strike for here. And again, if he moves away, there's your kamae. No tension whatsoever. If you're in the right spot, it's very interesting. The harder he pushes, the easier it is to control him. Push. All right, but you don't need any muscle at all. Finding your best, strongest position. Again, the idea of Aikido is very simple. Move to a position where you are strong, grab, and uke is off balance. You don't need any muscle. All right? So try that just first. And again, remember, you don't have to hit hard, but you have to hit. All right? This is the target. All right? Any questions? Go ahead, try, please. This is just like Shomenuchi, ikkajo, sai-ni, just the start. All right? And again, I'd like you to try it my way for this hour. And the next class, I can't remember who's teaching next, Blok Sensei, Thompson, try it their way. Make sense? But the truth is, you have to be careful. I'm on left, Michael's on right. Go. That's right. If they don't block, hit them. All right? When they get tired of blocking with their head, they'll put their hands up. But you have to make sure when you strike, that's not a strike. Right? When you strike, you have to relax. Right? So make sure, go ahead, here, yakuhami here. The energy is still coming forward. All right? And Aikido is a martial art. You have to be careful. If I grab Michael, like katate mochi, why do I grab him? Buy him a coffee? To punch him. So make sure when you grab, don't look over there. Look right there. If they're ugly, maybe do that. I don't know. But the truth is you have to watch. Shomenuchi is the same. I'm looking around. You're all going back to your usual habit. So he strikes. You kind of come here. You look around a bit. Here. No, it's here. Then he's locked up now. Then you can control. And again, you don't have to hit hard, but you have to get the idea of hitting. So if he hits, go ahead. Good. Go ahead. Lots of effort. Relax. How does that feel? Awesome. You don't have to hit so hard. Just there. Nice and relaxed. Okay? You don't. But it's true. That's the relaxing. If you're punching, you don't need muscle. Think about it. If you see anyone doing anything they're good at, they do it effortlessly. But how much effort did they have to put in? So don't hit hard, but hit and try to relax. Who's seen me for the first time? Because if you like, I can show you the Aikido Yoshinkai Burnaby arm relaxing exercise. You want to see it?
Yes.
No, you don't. All right. But the truth is, you don't need muscle at all. Just get that feeling of energy out. Here. And keep that feeling strong. Kamae strong. Energy out. Fingers relax. He moves away. Same as kamae. Right? Any questions? A bit more. More relax. Take it easy. It's still early. Let's go. Hey, sorry, Vera. I'm going to do a iriminage. If you have trouble doing back break falls, don't do it. Just stop and then walk out of it. We've got lots of training to go. Again, what I'd like you to try first, though, is for iriminage, it's the idea of kamae. Drop your hands. Don't drop your hands. Just walk. All I want you to do. All right? Just keep the kamae and walk. He's being a very good uke. Don't go down. Yes. If you resist, just do exactly the same thing. And eventually what happens is you realize now his hips are going forward. And then you just have to go down. But no tension. And all of you are going to do this. Okay, kamae. Good. How do I know? How do I know? Because I did it. But you have to get down. That's not kamae. Here. Just from there. Go. Slide up. Get the feeling of slide. Okay? Go ahead and try. If they resist, it works better. If you slide. If you enter and blend. If you push away, they'll just step. Does that make sense? Try, please. Don't throw. Just move in. Okay, not too bad. Again, everyone's a bit tense. This is not a body check. It's a iriminage, right? You want to get to the point where it's here, not pushing, right? I'm sure all you know Aikido is based on the sword because all Japanese martial arts are based on the sword except karate because it's not Japanese. It's Okinawan. Don't tell the Japanese that. They get upset, all right? With a sword, you cut. All of you are getting tight and it comes here and then you're going this way. That's a push. You have to come here, thumb up, thumb down. It's a cut. It's not a push. No, it's not that way. Your elbow doesn't move down. So you have to slide into that spot and down. That makes sense? It's not a push. So now nice and easy. I'm on left, Libor's on right. He strikes, block. Don't move your arms, turn your body, pivot 180. Uke comes around, angle down, roll. No shift, but nice and easy. Again, for your uke, you don't have to throw hard, but find that nice smoothness. One, around, and then down. Hold your zanshin. 1, 2, 3. Then kamae. Nice and easy. If uke is stiff, it means they're scared or they're stupid or old or all three. That's me. All right. But find the form. Get used to it. And don't worry about trying to have so much power. If you find the form, the power will come. And then, even if they resist, say, I'm not moving.
I'm not moving.
Say it in check.
I'm not.
They just come around. You don't need the muscle. Again, if you talk to Blok Sensei, Thompson Sensei, holy crap, I wish I had me when I was 21. Because I was always thought, kill him, rip it up, kill him. Soft is not weak. Dead is weak. If your kamae is solid, you can relax. Into the energy there. Make sense? Find the form. And again, if uke is stiff, that's your chance to just relax and move. Go ahead, try please. Let's do kakari geko. Right? Make sure everyone's throwing towards the shomen. I don't know. 2. Hey, right away, I see. What did we start with? Kamae and that intent. Spike, please. And what I see now, Spike, your left, your stay. Left, your stay. See, oh, how you doing? That's not it. That's not it. Hey! Now he feels that energy. Okay? It's here. That's where the power is. Focus more. Okay? Any questions? I feel comfortable. What a bunch of gorillas. Oh my God. Yes. I don't know. I don't know. Wherever it goes, wherever it ends up, you have to move here. So basically what's important though, I see a lot of you, you're getting tight and you're pivoting and you're bringing uke right to here. Now he's really strong. If you can, as you turn, if you want, just think coming to here. That's all. Of course, for the shift, it will be fine. All right. But again, some of you have heard this story before. Who's been to my dojo? How are my mats, Vera? Yeah, they're very soft. All right. And I had a student, his name was Bob. And his Bob. Hi, I'm Bob. How you doing? I'm Bob. And he was a judo guy. And we were on my mats and I was teaching iriminage. And I said, has anyone ever done judo? There's a technique called ippon sorenage. And I was saying, I had Bob and I said, make sure, because some of you are doing it. If you do iriminage hands this way, all they have to do is grab your arm and they can do ippon. I said, don't do it, Bob. And he just buried me. So apparently at one point, my feet were right up in the air and he slammed me down to the tatami. I thought I broke both my hips and had a baby at the same time. But if you do that, with Bob, it will just throw you. And then he just has to turn out of it. Here. If you're here, now he can't turn out of it. Turn out of it? He can't. So it doesn't really matter where it goes, right? I used to have, I won't say his name, Enor. He used to do it like this, and then you'd have this imprint of your dogi on your face. It should be just here, though. So wherever it ends up is fine. But again, how do we get the power? We're using your body, using your body. So make sure, a lot of you, again, one. What Kihon dosa looks like that? None of them. You have to make sure, if you can, one, don't worry about the power so much, but down. That was a good one. Down. Make sense? Any questions? And uke, have to relax more. So again, if uke is stiff, that's your chance just to relax and let it go. But uke, come right around, because eventually you don't block. Just to there. More relax. Go ahead, please. Any questions? Everyone has the right idea. Again, we say Aiki. 2 people make 1 technique. What I love about Aikido is 2 people make 1 technique. It's brilliant, scary, frightening, depending on who your partner is, and it's magic. What I hate about Aikido is we do absolute, but it works because uke usually jumps or whatever, right? I hate it when I see stuff like this. And uke does a triple backflip and lands, all right? This is the kihon. The kihon is teaching Jacob how to strike, me how to block, and then work together. And again, there are no rules. You can do whatever you like. But what we're trying to get is the body power. So don't go too fast and start leaving uke behind. If you throw there and uke lands right here beside you, you didn't control them, all right? And you can do it any way you like. The old way was grabbing here and slamming your elbow into the back, and that's okay too, but that just promotes tension. I like it soft here. How's it feel? But it's nice because there's a little called subo. It's a nerve you can push on the neck. So just, if you don't want to do iriminage. But it's to find the connection of your hands, right? And of course, you can block or you can move off to the side in like jiuwaza, but you can't do both. And what I'm seeing is a lot of you doing both. So obviously, I'm twice Jacob's size. Who's better looking, Libor? Thank you very much. Good answer. So he'll knock you over if they strike with intent. You have to. Here. Now he keeps coming forward. Then he moves around you. Just down. So find that connection. So uke has to help a bit more, but make sure move. And again, it's not about muscle. It's about from here. 1. Throw towards his outside shoulder on the angle. Then it's easy to break the bounce. And you have to go wide and low. If you do that, you're wasting your time. That's all there is to it. Any questions? So how low should you go? Right? Tambu Sensei says you should go so low your are touching the tatami. And I put my hand up. I said, I'm 67. My are touching the tatami. And I'm standing here. So I don't have to go so low. But you have to force it a little bit. You're forcing yourself to find that body position. Does that make sense? And it's strong. Go ahead, please. Any questions? Right? And again, you have to be careful. Gozo Shoda Kacho Sensei said, water goes from a high place to a low place. And it always finds the easy way. You will do which is comfortable for you. But what did we start with? Proper strike, proper block. And as soon as we started doing the technique, it all went to hell. All right? Does that make sense? this is a true story because I was teaching in Czech Republic and there was a young girl from the Ukraine. Her name was Veronica. And she was working with a white belt. And she was going, they were doing Shomenuchi, and she was doing this. So I called her up. He was there. I called her up and I said, hit me. And that little almost killed me. She came flying in and smashed me right across the neck. And I thought, why didn't you do that with your partner? She said, well, she's a white belt. I said, well, you don't have to hit hard, but you have to hit. I said, how's your hand? And right away she said, how's your neck? But she hit really hard. And so you don't have to hit hard, but you have to have the intent, right? I make the joke. Can you imagine? You nobody does that. Now that's his chance. So if we're doing Shomenuchi, you don't have to hit hard, but you can't do that. You have to strike. Okay? Now, uke can resist. But when uke resists, it's not to see if you can make the technique work. It's to see how much effort you don't have to use. Fist strong. Say, I'm not moving.
I'm not moving.
Use one finger. You have to go behind on the angle. When you understand, you can go any way you like. But for now, angle behind. All right? That's why I'm using one finger. Want to see what we do without touching?
Yeah.
How do you know? Maybe I can't. I couldn't do it last time, but I still can't do it. You have to touch. But say, I'm not moving.
I'm not moving.
It's the angle. It must just be physics. Unfortunately, I taught my daughter 2 + 2 is 22. That's why she's a massage therapist, right? And apparently she's a very good one, but I don't know because she just says, go stretch, daddy. Put ice on it. But if you get the right angle, Jacob, Michael, brace, 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 brace. If you get the right angle, one finger, still you just have to go in there. And you break the balance. All right? Find that angle. Go ahead, please.
What?
Nick, you want me to have a bit of a break and then a little bit water break? And again, if my experience helps, think about it. When I was leaving Japan, I asked Takeno Sensei, how can I make sure my Aikido is improving when I go back to Canada? And I thought he would say, don't worry, you trained really hard for 9.5 years. You're my uke, you'll be fine. And he said, you can't. And I said, oh, great. And he said, I'll look at your students and I'll know how you're doing. And I thought, no pressure there, but it's true. Especially you guys are black belts, if you're teaching, if you're doing this, your students are doing this. You have to do it correctly. It's a big responsibility. It's really hard to be a good senior and a good teacher. You have to do it right because they will copy you. Does it make sense? And I didn't copy any of my teachers because I was told not to. And it worked out better for me because now I do it my way. And the truth is, if you do it Blok Sensei's way when he teaches, you do it Thompson Sensei's way when he teaches, you do it my way when I teach, eventually it goes into your pot. And your best Aikido will come out. Does that make sense? So sometimes when I teach, I will say, Takeno Sensei does it this way, Chida Sensei does it this way, and I do it this way. It's what's the same is most important, not what's a little different, right? And I always make the same joke. Takeno Sensei in my line was like a whip. Chida Sensei was like a club. You have a choice, David. You can be clubbed to death or whipped to death. What will you pick? I think a club might be faster, but same result. Does that make sense? All right. So basically, I don't pretend to do anything I can't do, but if I can do some of this stuff, so can you. The difference is, really pisses me off because some of my senior students are doing things in 20 years that took me 40 years to get. Why? Because nobody told us, right? All I got from Takano Sensei was, your Aikido's no good, your Aikido's no good, your Aikido's no good, your Aikido's no good, your Japanese is no good. Chida Sensei was kinder. Your Aikido's no good, your Aikido's no good, your Aikido's no good, your Japanese kind. Do it right. It's important. Then, when you smash uke and they get up and say, do that again, you've gone to a whole different spot. I challenge you to find that. Great job, everyone. Relax more. All right?
Hey. And please say so. So there is a theme that I think is really important. Both Mustard Sensei and Thompson Sensei are good friends of mine from 40 plus years ago. We came from very similar places, but had many things in our lives that had brought us to other places in our life. And each of us have things that are unique to us that we do. One of the things that I find most difficult to deal with is this idea that, well, that's not Aikido, or that's not Yoshinkai Aikido. And my explanation would be, watch a video of Takano Sensei, and then one of Shioda Sensei, and then one of Chida Sensei, and then Nakano Sensei, and Ando Sensei. They're all different. There are many fine details that are clearly different in each one of them. I remember in the brief time that I was there, in my training time, there was a couple of occasions we were live-ins, which is the Musashi Kogane Dojo. So we sleep there, you get up in the morning, you train all day. And while the other, which you'd actually walk around and teach, you're still training every day, every class, every day. We did a 3-month time there. And you do your technique, you're gonna be in some type of position like this, and it's hot and you're sweating. And one of the teachers come by, no, too high. Oops. Next teacher come up, no, too low. Oops. Then a few minutes later, they come by, too high. Oops. Too low. Oops. Yes, please. So, thank you. So the concept about this is, what is your best Aikido? And of course, there's danger there. It can be, well, I don't like this thing, so I'm not going to do that. When I asked the Shoda Sensei, what was the best technique to do? He said, the one you hate the most, because that's where you will grow the best. Don't keep going back to what you already know. And I think that's a very important aspect of what we're doing here at this weekend. You have skills, many black belts here, some very accomplished. You have your own understanding of what has been working for you. I think our job, at least as I see it, is to bring different details for you. Because everybody knows there's only one way to make a pizza, right? Only one. But no, we're going to put pineapple on a pizza. My wife loves pineapple and fruit on a pizza. I mean, come on. But it can be delicious. I was teaching in California, so we're going over for pizza. I said, okay. The pizza shows up, no tomato sauce, no cheese, some bread, all these vegetables that are grilled on. I'm like, that's not a pizza. That's a vegetable sandwich. I taste it. Oh, it's delicious. This can be pizza too. So what my point here is, don't quickly throw away something that you don't understand in the moment. Much of what my experience was totally off from what I did. The actual very first time I was able to have Gozo Shioda do a technique with me was me practicing at the dojo, where we were doing ikkajo, and that's why I picked that one. The idea for me was always the same. Just I was young, strong in my 20s, could easily just crush them, and my partner would scream and go down. It worked every time. But Gozo Shioda would come over and watch, because this guy would do it to me, and he would say, spoke very good English. He said, if you don't feel it, you don't have to. Don't go down. Stop, resist. Okay, so he wasn't able to do it much. We're both Nidans, so he gets Shoda Sensei's attention, who comes over. He's trying a little bit, and then he asks me to do it, and he watches me do it. I'm like, what? Look at my partner screamed and fell down. That's good Aikido. Then he does it, this relax, and boom, he falls down. He wants me to do this. Okay, I guess I don't understand. Okay, do it to me. Okay, so I'm not going to devote my life to something that I don't really have faith in. So I'm not going to be a good, okay? I am not going down. I'm on the ground. No pain. None, not an ounce of discomfort. But I was totally out of balance and on the floor. Do it again. And each time I'm thinking, okay, this time, nope, I'm down again. This is something that's different than I've ever done. I don't understand this. My first teacher, Kushida Sensei, was a bull. Everything was crush and that type of power. That's how I felt. Broke my wrist and many types of injuries from the brutality that I felt from his technique. Very powerful. Wonderful when you're young. You love it. Yes. As Master Sensei was saying, we love the blood and guts in our teeth. Yeah, yes. That isn't for everyone, and only for a brief period of time can you be like this. You won't survive. You break up, and eventually you're gone. But when Shoda Sensei said, okay, do it. So I get ready. He gets behind me. He puts his belly pretty much on my butt because he's so short, reaches up, barely gets his hands over top of mine and puts me in a position that I'm thinking, I can't do Aikido like this. I can't do a technique like this. It's terrible. Then he just pushes me. Boom, and my partner falls. He laughs. He walks away. I tell my partner, you just went down. No, that was really good. I lost balance and I fell. So the rest of the class, I'm doing this awkward thing. I mean, I'm a Nidan, thinking, I know Aikido. No, not at all. Whatever I was doing, some brutality that was in my head. This wasn't true, certainly as he was teaching at Aikido. And we had a break, and I went to every black belt I could in that break to do the exact same thing. And every one of them fell down. And I realized I got to start back at the beginning. What I think I know is not very efficient, and I really don't know much. So getting back to what I was speaking about earlier in this particular environment, many things you may see here, details may seem odd, awkward, unusual, but they've been effective for the teachers that are showing you. The idea, your job, steal it. Don't wait like a bird in the nest. Feed me. Go out, find the food, partially digest it, come over to my branch, and then spit it in my mouth. That's most students are often like that. You go do all the real hard work. Students many times have said to me, oh, I want to do like the old days. No, you do not. You do not want to be like what we did. We have evolved, thank God, to a much better place. We are not getting crushed and broken bones and getting injured on a regular basis. That Aikido is evolving in ways that have allowed individuals to find all different types of branches that are still very effective, but are different. So whether your angle, position, your movement, the detail that you're using is effective for you or not, is a question of where you're going to put your energy. Will you work this? Will you try this out? Will you try a pizza with pineapple on it? A pizza with no cheese and no tomato sauce, and realize that can be pretty darn good too. It's like learning multiple languages. If you could speak 2, 3, 5 languages, it changes your brain. You begin to think differently, experience things differently. You have different cultural experiences because you were able to connect in these ways. Same thing here. Steal it. Don't be the little bird. Get out of the nest, explore, spread your wings, and try to bring this into your repertoire. As you can do this, you will grow, and that's how our art will grow. We cannot do the same thing over and over and over and think it's going to last. Don't change, don't move, death. Stop moving long enough, you die, you're dead. You need to evolve. We need to grow. When I was leaving Japan, one of the last times that I was able to act directly with Shoda Sensei, he had promoted me to Rokudan, and he gave me a Shihan license. And he said, you can't do Aikido like me. You cannot. Please go back to Canada, or he said North America, and do big man Aikido. Teach big man Aikido, because I cannot do big man Aikido. I do my Aikido, you do your Aikido, which I thought is the kind of advice that was for me both good to have and very scary. It meant now that I had to do something that was brand new. I had to come up with things that were totally different than what I'd been taught by others. So I began to steal. I began to train with Aikikai people, Jiu-Jitsu people, karate people. I was involved with a group called the World Kobudo Federation. Some of you may know Sensei Kamsel here has been involved for quite some time as well with them. The idea was you have all these different martial artists and you'd be challenged by a 5th dan in karate or 6th dan in jiu-jitsu, and they're like, yeah, you're Aikido crap. You think that's going to work? It better, because these people are going to challenge you, and you need to have the capability to control and do the technique well and not just hurt them. That won't go over very well either. So how can you refine your techniques and continue to grow? Steal. Steal from every positive thing that you can see around you and bring it into your repertoire of movement. And yes, it may not be what people might call pure Yoshin Aikido. I personally, I don't care. I say that I'm from a Yoshin base, what we call our group Judo Kai. The Judo Kai, Chudo is the name of our dojo organization. We use this crest, we use Chu, actually from Nakano Sensei. It's also pronounced Naka, center, balance, middle. I like this. We have extremes sometimes, but we have that middle road that we follow. So when you get an opportunity to train from someone who has experience beyond you and capabilities beyond you, your job is to steal from them. So it doesn't take the 30, 40 years that took them to get there. You can do it in 10 or 5. And then when you get good at it, your students are doing it in 3 and 2. And then their students are doing it in 6 months because you brought this clarity for what the value and the capabilities are in the particular kind of technique. Does it make sense? Okay. Anybody have a comment or disagreement with this? Because I'd like to talk to you about it. I'm a very open kind of person when it comes to these types of things, and I'm a notorious thief. If I find, like today, we've done a bunch of things today, I'm going to steal. I write all kinds of notes. I'm old fashioned, so I will write notes. I love these ideas. A really simple concept. Just that idea from Thompson Sensei, or the idea of pivot without shift. Because we use almost always shift, punch, shift backs, the older style of iriminage ni. But of course, we do advanced without that. But the idea of keeping the kamae, I've never used that type of terminology when I'm speaking, yet I find that it was a way to get people to be much more efficient. So I'm stealing that for sure. Your job too. Please don't steal my pouch or my wallet, but steal everything you can else from me. Question. Okay. Blue one? So today I want to start with the same beginning that Master Sensei was doing with that original concept of Shomenuchi and a knee movement, moving to the outside. So from your kamae, first thing I'd like to start with is the idea that you can lead a technique. Part of a technique, sometimes you have the idea of sen. First, you can lead. So some of the movements, as I began, there was always, when you're ready as the shite to let the uke know, it's a training session, we are prepared for this, you are leading. We do this kind of thing in our life all the time. Hey, my name's Kevin. Nice to meet you. Why did you shake my hand? Why? Why? Well, I put my hand out. I didn't ask you, I put my hand out. I led and you followed. Why are you smiling? You can lead everywhere all the time, and you can be in control of a situation doing things that seem so soft, so benevolent. I was mentioning to John Sensei, wherever you are, somewhere. Over there, it's over there. I have a company called On Guard International, and we do police training, security training, customs, police, military, security guards, hospital workers, for example, that have to deal with psychiatric patients and so on. And in this company, I basically, it was Aikido. I just took the Aikido concepts I thought would work well for them, and we do three techniques. That's it. That's all they need to know. Kotegaeshi, ikkajo, and renkojime. Those 3 things can be done, at least 2 of them, in almost any direction, and they're quick to learn. So you're getting training. Often it's 1 day, 2 days of training, and then you can go out in the street and actually try to do this for real. How many of you are going to be really talented in your Aikido training after 1 week or 1 month or 1 afternoon of training? Probably not very good, but they have to be. So it had to be very simple and very efficient, very effective. So in these kind of situations, I began to hone the way to approach Aikido outside of the general martial arts world. And that has helped me to be successful to continue doing this as a life. Very blessed. Thank all the divine energies that have helped such a thing to happen. So when we're looking at this initial idea, you can start with a lead, or you can just say that, okay, strike, or you're just waiting for them to strike. It's your choice. But one of the ways you can get this kind of concept started is that you actually raise your hand, which is the beginning of the block. And then as he's coming in to make his strike, the focus for us is going to be first starting here, this. I watched many people doing this. If I'm trying to control his body, not much is happening here. A little more here, so if I'm doing this, a little more here, but if I go past this joint, which is now taking some of that energy and absorbing it to here, I can control it much more. If I go here, lots more, or right on the core line, like iriminage, same types of ideas. So you can control that. Even some of the leads, for example, with some of the teachers I've seen, they'll lead like this. So he's saying, okay, go ahead, strike the head, striking that. It's not important what you do for the lead, just to let the communication happen that we're starting our training. Then I want you to focus on the idea of hiriki. Hiriki. Just make that change. Armpit close, same as we were talking about yesterday with ikkajo. The same form, it's the kamae form, complete. Master Sensei is absolutely correct with that idea. Everything is in kamae. Everything you'll need to know is in the kamae. Once you start to train more and more, you'll realize, oh, that's the same as kamae. The posture is the same. Everything is the same. And you can see now how easy it is to make these kinds of forms. So I want you to focus on this so that you have that elbow point in front of your hand, not over top. You can control much more efficiently here. And then our next motions are going to be sankajo. So what I want to focus on for part of this class, and then we're going to finish with some on-guard defensive tactics, police style things, arresting techniques. And we'll use this as our start. So again, start with some type of lead, inside, ready. Pivot to the outside corner, touch fingers, up. Sankajo. The sankajo I'm talking about here is not about making the wrist in pain, although it often is rather painful. Our focus is not to do this. Many martial groups use a type of wrist lock that is similar to this. Almost all my Aikigai friends, almost always, they put it on their chest and they make pain like this. And every time they do that, I use my size to lean towards them and elbow them right in the face. This is not so smart. Yeah, you can make pain for crazy people like me and maybe a few others around. You'll take the pain. I see the fingers pointing over there. Same thing, if you're doing sankajo, he's doing sankajo to me. If he's like this is really not so powerful for him. Because if I know what's coming and just relax, before he can get a good solid lock in here, I'll just step in and boom. Now I'm in the shite position. He's in the uke position here. Just simple, sokomen irimi or any other kind of technique. What I want you to do is to focus on that outside idea, push, grab for the sankajo positioning, and you should be holding this just like kamae, just like kamae. And when you do it correctly, look where his elbow is. It is not back here. It's not about trying to make pain when your arms come out to try to hurt his wrist. No, come on. People fish up here near Toronto, right? You actually are able to fish, right? I tell people when I used to teach with the World Kabuto group, they say, well, what are you doing there? I said, I'm fishing. I think I see a bass over there. Plop. Wait a second, I think he's over there. You can, I'm not trying to make pain, I'm sorry. Just showing off a little bit of making some fun, but the idea was keep that elbow tip further out. And again, other people may do it differently and that's perfectly fine. We all make our sandwiches a little differently, but for now, focus on those things. A lead, catch from under, after your pivot up, you make the movement. Think about keeping that elbow forwards. Don't worry so much about the rotation. We'll talk about that in a moment. Question. Let's try it. Os, babe. So, a couple of items. The concept of the grip itself. There are many ways I've seen this done, lots. I've seen some of the, actually people have gotten the little finger, all kinds of other, I guess, opportunity examples or different styles and approaches. But the one I'd like you to work on today is your fingers should be well above their fingers, unless your hands are very different in sizes. You want the first 3 fingers to be on the side of the palm, the index finger above it. In fact, with my hand, I usually end up having the middle finger like a bracelet or watch band and the other finger higher. And the reason why is you're not trying to break the bones, the carpals of the wrist. If you go lower and you make this motion, that's the most giving spot. It's going to absorb the most energy. When I move with my hips, it's going to cause greater potential for damage. So go just a little bit higher. Next, you need to be sure about keeping this on a single line. I was watching people doing this kind of thing. You can see how his arm comes up, over, and bent. This is now an issue for me. It hurts, I'm sure. This is awkward for his arm, but it's not controlling the rest of his body, especially his elbow here. Instead, what I want is this. Like with the sword. When you kamae with a sword, the sword tip isn't up there. It's forwards. The energy is moving towards them. Same thing here. You want the energy moving towards them. This keeps them further from me, and clearly the elbow is not only above the wrist, but it's forward of the wrist. And as you move here, you can now push and direct them where you want to go with the slightest amounts of energy that come from your waist, from your hips. It's not about using your hands to cause pain. You're trying to move the body. Okay, question? Let's try it, please. Os. Hajime. So one of the things that I found about a technique like sankajo, because it is a technique that puts uke in a very vulnerable position. Most of us don't stretch our wrists much this way. Aikidos do this a lot, but even for us, it can be very uncomfortable. For anyone else, often this kind of thing happens and things rip, tear, crush, break, that might have damage problems rest of their life. I have a lot of souvenirs. Both Kushida Sensei and Takano Sensei broke this wrist, both on ikkajo. So yeah, I understand. I don't want that for my own students. To this day, I have great memories at that time. Reminds me, especially when I don't want it to, but it's there. So while you're applying, one way you can minimize this is put the pressure more towards the far part of the body. Take the hand that's off the fingers, reverse the grip. And when you do this, you are now driving the arm into the shoulder as opposed to torquing at the wrist. And you can reduce the stress that they're feeling here dramatically by this. Still, very powerful, very capable to move the uke, but you take away much of the stress that they might experience while you're doing that. So it's just a modified form. And there are others to make things worse. Okay, so I've met, for one instructor, he liked to do a thumb lock at the same time, but just to cause more pain. Why do you need that? Pressing up with the fingers. Why do you want to make it more painful? It's painful enough. What you want to do is control them. Aikido is the way of harmony. We want to make a better world, not a worse world. Unfortunately, sometimes we need strong things done. Somebody comes at you with a very, very sharp knife. They're going to cut into your body. And some people go ahead, doctor. Cut out that tumor. Save my life. Wow. Policeman carries a gun. Why? To make the world a safer place for us. They put themselves on the line to save the average citizen. And their job is not to shoot people. It's to stop them. Even though they'll target chest and head, the idea is I only do it when I absolutely have to. And what's the number one thing I do after that? Save their life. Call for backup, call for medical attention, call for everything I can to keep that person alive. Because my job is not to kill them. My job is to stop them. The only way I could stop them in this situation, as I saw it, was to use my firearm. Not every policeman has such a benevolent approach, but that is the goal. That is the theme that's supposed to be in the pantheon of all the policing agencies that we have throughout Canada, throughout the world. So I'm trying to control him. I'm not trying to kill him. He is my friend, my partner, my fellow Aikido training person. So if you feel that this is causing too much stress or pain, you can see how high I am on this wrist. I'm trying to minimize what's happening here. Grab above. It's an odd form of kamae. Normally we have the same hand, same foot forwards, but he's still there. Step, same kamae concept. Armpits closed, you're moving with your body. It is not, people see this type of thing. It's not this. We don't do kamae, is this stuff. Whole body movement. Otherwise, this part is the same. Question. Please just try that a couple times. We're going to go on to the next step. Os. Os. So now we're going to add a standing escort. This is one of the standard techniques that we use when you don't have handcuffs, but you need to control an individual in a very secure way without causing damage. Now, indeed, we're going to use a type of technique called the renkojime. Most people know what that is, renkojime. So chicken head, that kind of something, this kind of thing. It's used a lot in policing and controlling of individuals. The concept for us is not to create the pain so much, but to create a controlled position so that uke cannot punch, kick, spit, or bite, and you can contain and control them without handcuffs. There's a number of individuals that I work with in the security world do not carry handcuffs. Certain, for example, people who work in psychiatric hospitals, geriatric hospitals. You think a senior citizen can't hurt you? They bite even when they don't have many teeth or no teeth, gumming, scratching, striking, and he has intimate knowledge of this, does he? The concept is you can't hurt them. What about a pediatric unit when you've got young kids? You got a 10-year-old, 12-year-old. Could they hurt you? If they can do anything they like, and you are very controlled of what you can do, not only might you lose your job, you might be sued or even charged if you do something. So you want to be very careful with what you do. And it includes optics, meaning that it isn't what really happened. It's what people think they saw. So cameras are everywhere. And of course, what they'll do is excise out with a part that they want to bias the highlight. And what you see is this little bit of something that looks terrible, brutal. So if you're doing, we used to have a group that did a lot of jujitsu, and I would say, okay, you start with, a back fist to the face, and they're filming this. And you grab them and smash them to the ground. They're going to say, that guy used such excessive force, lawsuits galore. Everything gets very, very difficult beyond this. It isn't over when you've controlled them. So in this focus, I'll go back to that same idea of containment and control, maintenance and control of an individual so that their violence is vastly diminished. And it's an excellent way to get into this position from the sankajo. So we'll start with the same beginnings, the same start, and the finish is rather simple. I'll change direction. So we're going to have a little walk here, Library, right? Are we good? We're good, right? I know it's uncomfortable, but are we good? Are we good? Is this fun? Are we having a good time? Yeah, let's hope we're having a good time. But see, you can't reach you with this free hand, can't punch or kick easily, cannot bite, cannot spit. We can, but not at me. So how did I get there? Simple. Think about this like a sword, and I'm going to cut through his kidney, above his waist. So if I exaggerate the movement, it looks like this. So now it's behind him for this one moment, grabbing the back of the elbow. I now have renkojime started right now. It's here. Now, before he can move and get out, I need to start very slow. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's a US sniper concept. Hand close to the armpit, through, elbow down. Take a photo. Getting along so nicely.
Yes.
But he can bite, spit. To prevent that, you can just hold the head. What I like personally is to grab the collar or the neck on the outside and pull it in. Now, if this person is insanely crazy, you can use this part here to actually go over top and make even more pressure. But again, it just creates great discomfort here. We don't even really need that. Could do it something like this. And still, you can take, anytime I can just pivot to the ground, all I need to do is bend. The natural response is bring the hands towards the ground. Now I'm an ikkajo, and down, pin him on the floor. So I get support or other people to assist. So it has a great, facility for use in a wide variety of situations. Even if you have handcuffs and all of a sudden they just grab you, you're into sankajo, renkojime, down to the ground. Okay, handcuff, we finish. You wanna try? Okay, os, hachime. So a couple of things. This technique is taught around the world in so many different dojos under so many different names. Jiu-jitsu or mixed martial arts or kung fu, aikido. Even karate has some movements like this often added to their repertoire. It's not traditional karate, but certainly can be added and be a part of a good study. But there are a few things that I want you to be mindful of. If you see this elsewhere, this is a common thing that I see a lot. Police escorting someone like this. You don't have an idea what our problem is here? And you just turn to face me. You're karateka too, right?
Yes.
What do you think I'm going to be doing while I'm trying to control this and that hand is smacking me multiple times in the face or other parts of my body? Not good at all. I want to be behind him. Rear corner is the safest place to be. I need to be here. Next, I've seen people do it like this. I watched the camera, or okay, we're up here. Good. I've seen this. As a police instructor, and this person had no idea what was about to happen. And he went, you can control anybody like this. And he went, And what did this guy do? Ah! His elbow went up, hit the police instructor right in the chin, and his eyes rolled, and he fell over unconscious on the floor. So you want to make sure that they cannot get that elbow out. And the positioning you want is this, well below your chin, elbow straight down, hand flat against you. It's the optimum place to be. It means I'm at his rear corner. That's very hard for this hand now to get all the way around, but I'm going to help make this even better once I'm here holding him, however you want to hold him, by grabbing out here too. So that prevents that hand from getting at my body, my face. And I have this power here coming over top to press down anytime I want to get his attention. We're not going to hurt each other now, are we, Libor? Okay, good. Yes. I did that to my dentist once and it worked really good. He was giving me a root canal and he came over and got real close and he was a good friend. As he went to start out, I reached over and grabbed his said, we're not going to hurt each other now, are we? And he was the gentlest dentist I have, because he got really, really scared. I didn't hold long. But it was effective. We got a nice cooperative approach. And what we want here is to get them to understand that for the moment, you're in charge. And if they do what you say, you will not cause pain or damage. So the idea isn't just keep cranking down and hurting them, because they will continue to try to find some way out, maybe trying to stomp on your foot or just whatever they can to wreak havoc for you. Instead, what you want to do is make a contract with them. And the contract is, do what I say, everything will be fine. I will eliminate the discomfort, but I'll keep you in the control position. As you get more spunky and more of a problem, I'll have to increase this. Do you understand? Don't do anything that will make me have to hurt you. And most people are pretty quick to catch onto this. And so, like any kind of trapped animal, once they realize there's no way to get out, they stay real quiet and they wait for the opportunity. Catch an insect, catch a fly. They're around for a little while, then they just stop because they realize they can't get out, but they'll wait. Then you go, do I still have them? Oh, they're free. Same with him. If you let them out, often that same behavior may repeat itself. So we want to be mindful to keep the control without causing damage and injury or excessive pain. Question. A few more minutes, please. Hajime. So that is my time. We are now at the midday hour. I appreciate your energies and your time. We finished with a technique. Actually, was a request from our host to do a little on-guard stuff. This is one of those tactics. Now, indeed, it has aspects of Aikido in it. Is it a true Yoshin Aikido technique or Aikido technique? Or maybe, not really, I guess. But I have made this as part of the training that has allowed Aikido to grow in ways it would normally not grow. Not in dojos, but in hospitals, in military barracks, in police academies, and so on. And it expands the same philosophy of Aikido, which is try to do minimal harm. No harm is best. Minimal harm, but contain and control with authority so that you can make a better place. Aikido is the way of harmony. How can we make harmony? That's our focus. If we are truly true Aikido-ka, working to do more than just damage the burglar, the mugger, the drunk or crazy person on the street, we are looking at very tiny, tiny little bit of what this art is really about. It's about personal development to become first a better person, happier person, and in doing so, spread that out from you. If you are like this, by example, people pick that up. People want to be happy. People would rather smile than frown or be upset. There are a few exceptions, and we all have met a few of those. They like and enjoy being miserable and happy. I'm not doing any finger pointing. I'm not pointing at anybody. But the concept is for Aikido to make a better world. I mean, that was O-sensei's idea, Shoda sensei's idea. I studied with him when he was much older, probably my age now, about my age now. He was always smiling. The techniques never hurt. Yet I hear the stories from my first teacher, Kushida sensei. Oh, brutal, terrible, always in pain and very harsh, both the atmosphere and the training. I don't think that training itself can be bad if it's firm and strong and harsh in that way that we're doing things, lots of things over and over, but it should be done safely, wisely. I think this is what we're doing as we move towards this world into the future, where we can all train over and over and over and throw each other dozens, maybe even hundreds of times. The person gets up and they are better for it. No damage, no injury. I mean, I love judo, did judo for 2 years. I respect judo and judoka. I've seen a few of them do movements on people that's it. They don't get up. One hard throw on a hard surface. You think, well, I'll just get up. A lot of them, they're on the ground, either unconscious or crying. The idea about that was, though, when I watched them train, usually, unless you're very, very young and strong, male for the most part, 6, 7 throws, they have to go sit down, stretch out. And one of the things that I really liked about Yoshin Aikido was that we've refined our break falls. And I work a lot on that. We had at one point 18 different break falls that we taught. We've eliminated some of them, like the jump back break fall that I've seen some young brown belt here who's doing this over and over, wherever he is, that fellow there. It's a great thing, and it's lovely in demonstrations. You know, a guy like me in the hakama, you pivot, or they have a kama, oof, a big fan, looks wonderful. Make one mistake, they over-rotate. I did that in a demonstration in Detroit and almost broke my uke's neck. His head went, whole body went over. Luckily, he was 19 and then came back, but he has neck problems now. He's in his 50s still from that. I did that. That's not a good thing. It's not a positive thing. As a teacher, my job is to protect my students too. Not that they won't feel discomfort and be in places that they don't like, might hurt, but no damage. That's our focus, is about control and to make things better, the way of harmony. And it starts with you, in your own life, in your own heart, your own feeling, the way you look at people, the others. They're different than me, so they can't be as good as me. We see that everywhere all the time. It's happening in the United States right now. If you're a Republican, you won't vote for anything that the Democrats come up with, even if it's the best thing in the world for the United States people, and vice versa. Why? Well, because you become so opposed to each other that the others are truly other. It's how the military often uses the training focus to get you to shoot and kill another human being that you've never met, that's never done anything bad to you, yet your job is to target them, pull the trigger, and kill them. How can you do that? How can a human do that? There's a need for it at certain times. I think that the Ukrainians now are fighting the Russians. They need to target well. They need to do well to protect the sovereignty of Ukraine as a country. My father's side, I'm half Ukrainian. So I'm very Slava Ukrainsky, Slava Ukraina. Long live, or glory to them. Because I want them to win. Not that I want them to kill lots of Russians. I want them to stop what's happening in the best way they can. Unfortunately for now, it's a type of war. For you, sometimes you may need to use your techniques that will cause some problem here. But like the police officer, if you did a technique where they were smashed, it's not just good humanity and good Aikido, but also good legal approach. Immediately call for an ambulance. Try to help them. Do your best to make sure that they're okay. As opposed to thinking, yeah, that was great. I'm so cool because I just, did a shunagi on the guy and he's unconscious, bleeding in the street. The police will be knocking on your door almost for sure. Lawsuits coming, all kinds of other issues. Your life will not get better. It'll get a lot worse. Instead, your job to make the world a better place starts with you and that type of thinking. So hopefully you've had some positive experiences here in this last couple of hours, and that you can steal what you can and make it your own. Thank you. Please, we're gonna bow out.
There's tons of restaurants that get, if you're new, just ask around along Ankle or down over Eglinton. There's tons. There's Burger King, McDonald's, Subway, everything. So, but you ask people in the Sendokan or people who know the area, can you raise your hands? So ask any of these people. They'll tell you where to go.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you all so much.